Starting to the top right, we have the Startail Protoss player. Bit of a newcomer here, doing great in Code A. Now he's in the up and downs.
Startail Avenge.
Hasn't played a single PvP in Heart of the Swarm in an offline environment just yet. This is his first. And he is up against a strong Protoss player. Starting to the top left of Atlas, we have for Team LGIM.
LGIM YongHwa.
The last two PvPs that he played offline in Heart of the Swarm were against Rain and against First, and he lost both of them without taking a single map. Rain defeated him with a 2-0 and First took him down with a 3-0. So he wants to bounce back and get a hold onto the PvP. Let's just keep in mind that since he played the last time, PvP definitely has developed quite a bit.
Yeah. You know, what's cool about this, when you only have one PvP in a group, where it's a best of one, there's a lot of different things you can think about. You can think, well, this is my only PvP, I'm going to chance it, I'll go DTs, hide it, go for a strategy like that, where it's kind of like, maybe I'll just get lucky, I don't want to think about this matchup. Going DTs and trying to hope for a win that way is probably the easiest, you know, most brainless strategy you can go for. Or, you know, you might just try to play a super safe strategy because you think your opponent might be doing the same thing. And one or both these players could make choices like that. And that's how this matchup can be just really funny at times when you have only a best of one in a PvP. And you want to be focusing, of course, on the other matchups. The matchup against Terran and, of course, the one Zerg you're going to face later.
Definitely true. Right now, we're having the first scout already in the main base at the top left, so Avenge is trying to have a quick glimpse of what exactly is going on here. YongHwa is sending out his own probe to see what kind of timings we have.
Yeah, faster double gas here for YongHwa, and does not want to get gas stolen, whereas Avenge, he hasn't started second gas yet. He could, but if he doesn't, YongHwa could actually steal his gas right now. He has the probe in there. Nope.
Yeah, he could. Doesn't do it though. We already have the second assimilator now being built for Avenge. And Avenge is really the player that I'm concentrating more on a little bit more right now. I feel that he is going to be the one who will maybe try to get an aggressive build here. But we have actually YongHwa with a second gateway.
Yeah, with the second gateway here, he can be very aggressive with 3 Stalkers. And this has already been scouted by Avenge, so he knows he can't play too greedy back at home.
Yep. He knows everything that's going on. This is one of those builds, if you don't send the probe out and you don't scout, this can really completely blindside you and just smack you in the face. But now with the Avenge, of course, having the probe in his opponent's main base, he knows at least what's going on. He's not cutting too many corners here. And we have YongHwa immediately also heading into the Mothership core. Same is true for Avenge, just a little bit later with the timing.
Yeah. And Avenge, of course, having that later gas really affects him here. And he sent a Zealot out. You know, he made his Zealot even before his second gas, so he just wanted to make sure he could have the Zealot out to get all the information needed, chase the probe away. And now he's going into double gates behind this, whereas we have a Twilight Council for YongHwa. So probably just going to be a 3-gateway pressure into expand. It's not going to be something that you see very often in PvP, and YongHwa might be a little bit surprised by this.
Yeah. And Avenge is going for the pressure we talked about, whereas, of course, YongHwa now with the Twilight Council is the one who has to watch out what's going on here. And this is something, he doesn't really know what's going on, because now we have the first Stalkers in the game, so to the top right, there's no scouting anymore. And that's going to be true for quite a long amount of time. We don't have any sentries now for hallucination, nor do we have robotics for an observer. The only thing that can really get another shot or another look into the main base is the Mothership core, which is currently on the way.
Yeah, YongHwa very smart here. He knew there was only one gate. He saw that for a long time. He's actually going into DTs behind this, but he gets a great scout in the main.
Yeah, the DTs are going to be one probe being blocked here. But the DTs are going to be really interesting because we don't have any detection whatsoever for Avenge at this point.
He's even going to harass this mineral line. He's very bold here. He's potentially going to lose his Mothership core if he doesn't recall.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little bit too bold. There you go.
That was, you know, he got a probe out of it, so it's fine.
So right now we have basically a race going on. Will YongHwa die to Avenge before the Dark Shrine is done or not? The Twilight Council is now being built for Avenge.
He just needs this one sentry. This one sentry. He gets it. He needs a force field.
Yeah, he needs the force field and needs it right now.
He waits till the last second. He knows all he has to do is buy time. He's only going to use it as soon as the first units walk up the ramp. He's not going to wait.
He has 2 sentries now, so he can really buy a lot of time. He's on 2 gates still against 3, but the Dark Shrine is nearly completed. And the problem really being that Avenge doesn't have any kind of detection. He doesn't have an Oracle, he doesn't have an Observer, he doesn't even have the structures to build those, so once the DTs are in his main base,
he's dead.
it's going to be really tough for him to bounce back.
There's basically nothing he can do. I mean, unless he had an emergency sentry at home, which he doesn't have to block the ramp.
He's also getting a Dark Shrine, but the big problem for him really being that we have all those pylons already at the front, and YongHwa is warping in his first DTs right now, walking to the main base, and Avenge is going to see this and is being like, GG.
That's all he can do. You know, it's the builder we saw from YongHwa was actually just a safer build altogether. It was much more calculated. It felt like kind of like Avenge just wanted to test the waters. He played his style. You know, he was like super aggressive with the gateways, just trying to pressure his opponent. He expected YongHwa to try to do an early expand or perhaps go into Blink Stalkers, but DTs were the one build that counters him. That's how PvP goes sometimes.
So, really quick game here. Once the DT is in the main base and Avenge identifies what's going on, he immediately GGs. He knows that he cannot possibly do anything about it. He would have had to build a robotics right now. He doesn't really have any proxy pylons that he can use where the robotics is hidden, so the first thing that would have happened is YongHwa immediately attacking the robotics, or at least the pylon that's powering it, then getting additional DTs into the game, defending at home, and there's just no way for Avenge to take this game.
He already saw that with the mothership core that he had, that there were 2 sentries up there, so he knows he's not breaking up the ramp even. Even if he tried to proxy robotics over the front, it wouldn't work. And
even if he breaks up the ramp, there would just be a warp in with another DT, and he can't do anything about it. So once he sees the DT in his base, he knows exactly that this game is over. He GGs, doesn't even wait, doesn't even try anymore. He knows that he doesn't have a chance. And well, this is it. So the PvP really quick. And we are heading now into the next Zerg versus Terran as we have Crazy facing SC.
Yep, it's going to be on Star Station, so a very large map. No matter how big the map is, though, SC does seem to make his ground pushes with his parading units across the map work a lot of the time. In Heart of the Swarm, this works quite as well as it did in Wings of Liberty.
I'm really interested to see what Crazy is going to do now against SC. Will he once again go into the Roach Hydra, or we will see a more traditional Ling Muta Baneling build from the Zerg player? SC, on the other hand, of course, the Terran with the all-kill on the GSTL has now to prove that this wasn't a fluke or wasn't just a one-time thing. And this is the second TVZ for Crazy, so he has to be a little bit careful about how he approaches this. He's already down 1 game in the group, and falling behind with an 0-2 would be really significant for him.
Exactly, and you know, he's got to have studied SC's style, because SC's style is just so known. You know, it's like one of those styles where, like, if you were blindfolded and you were like listening to the game, you'd be like, no, I think that's SC, because he just plays the same way almost every time. He just loves to get his 2 bases up, start being aggressive while taking a 3rd base, and never stop rallying units across the map. So he's got to have some sort of strategy prepared for this type of style. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be Roach Hydra, not against SC.
Yeah, SC is a bit of a different player than Keen is, and against Keen this is something they can really work, because usually we don't have too much drop play by Keen, but even against Keen he wasn't successful with the Roach Hydra. So now we're heading into the second Zerg versus Terran for the KT player here. Here we have him, of course, on camera. Let's see what he can do against his opponent. SC looking strong in the GSTL. Can he do it here in the individual league?
Yeah, that's what we'll find out.
He lost against Yu-Gi-Oh! That was the one loss that he took in the Season 1 Korea qualifier for WCS, namely the Korea qualifier.
Yeah, and SC is just, in this group, one of the players who has more experience. He's the second one when you put it next to Kim, but he had such a time off before Heart of the Swarm that everyone was wondering how well he was going to do. This is a great place for him to prove himself. Like you said, was the all-kill a fluke? Was it just a binge practice where something he was good at that moment, but has he lost that, or is he going to stick with that rigid training he had, and is he going to prove himself here?
Star Station going to be our next map here. The map is loading. The players are ready. We have the 3rd game here at the Up and Down Group F. Crazy versus SC, Zerg versus Terran once again. Brought to you by Colin Wolf.